So with that, let's start with the first speaker, and that will be William Lips, who's representing the Environmental Safety ESG. And Bill, you have up to 2 minutes to make your case. Go for it.
No, you're good.
Okay, I didn't know I was first. Can you hear me?
That's because you're important.
That's because I'm important. I made a speech, see?
Yeah.
You can't see it because it's blurred in there with the coronavirus.
Love your background.
Okay, so thank you very much for allowing me to do this. It was a pleasure to poorly represent environmental safety governance during this great debate. It's quite evident to me that the true winners are not reflected in the number of votes or donations given, and that the extent of winning is apparently inversely proportional to the donations received or money raised. My group, loosely called Environmental for this discussion, is not one of the most people you think of first. We're an afterthought. Remember, it's environmental, so you probably think of us as something like a stench. You only think of safety after you cut your finger off, fall off a ladder, or maybe you drop the hairdryer in a bath. I mean, who thinks about safety before they're dead? Environmental? Well, what's worse than that? As I mentioned, can you say stench? If a toilet is working fine, you don't think about the plumber. You only think about the plumber when the toilet backs up and the stench is on the floor. If engineers failed in their design or the miners cause a major spill because some metallurgist or geologist screwed up somewhere, what does that matter? They're safe, because that fool environmental department is going to be in the news, getting dirty, cleaning it up, and catching all of the blame in the press. You probably don't know this, but I'm technically not even in the mining industry at all. So to me, SME is like a hobby. So it's knowing that, it'll be funny for you to wonder how come the environmental division ever made me a chair. It was easy during this mining museum great debate to pick on the geologisters, the malarkeyists, and the itty-bitty miners. What was very tough for me was picking on women and the youngsters because they are, well, women and youngsters. Early on in this great debate, I learned that it's not too healthy to jest at the cost of women. It's not allowed to joke about women because they are women, and it's dangerous too because there are 2 of them for every 1 of us. In addition, how do you joke about millennials when the only reason that they are millennials is because they are millennials? But I did enjoy the ongoing spats with the malarkeyist. That's the metallurgist for some of you, but malarkeyist to me. Believe it or not, I almost studied malarkeyism, but somewhere along the line, I decided that I wanted to study a real science. First, I pursued geology, but when I discovered in geology class that the science of geology is based on the higher technology of licking a rock or grinding sand in between my teeth, I decided to pursue a real science like chemistry. The malarkeyists seem to think that they are chemists, but we all know they don't use any real chemistry other than what they just decide to make up. Perhaps one of the design flaws of this great debate was that many in the audience did not fully understand the concept that we were just playing dodgeball, throwing insults at each other in the same way classmates seek to destroy their friends. If you've ever seen the movie Mean Girls, and I have daughters, so I'm going to qualify myself, I have daughters. If you've ever seen the movie Mean Girls, it's like that. I think some casual readers just took the burn book a little bit too seriously. But who am I to talk? It's obvious those of us with brains are not very successful at garnering all the votes or raising money. In this aspect, we probably lost. That's why it has become very obvious to me that where any concept of intelligence is involved, winning this great debate is inversely proportional to the money that we raised. Again, thank you very much for this opportunity to help raise money for the Mining Museum. It was interesting and fun. It's unfortunate that we were unable to do this in person, but apparently this Mexican beer's attack on computer operating systems, AKA the coronavirus, is much more powerful than even the toughest miner, even though those miners are not even old enough to drink. Thank you very much.
Well said, well said. Folks, he has thrown down the gauntlet. And you know, maybe because of the conversion of the mining industry to formal ESG, Thank you, Davos and Blackstone. Maybe the next time they hold this debate, if ever, you'll have a better representation. But Bill, you did a great job. I'd love a copy of that so that I can put it in my Christmas cards that I send to my mining and metallurgical friends.
Malarkeyist.
Malarkeyist, very good, very good.
Metallurgy is malarkey. All right.
Okay, very good. You've set an incredibly low bar.